RiffTrax. Have a good tracks where the riffs are missing. Why you always gotta pick RiffTrax? It's your lucky day, it's time for RiffTrax.
Hello, I'm Faith, and welcome to Faith's Take, where I talk about anything and everything that I find interesting. And welcome to episode 44 of Every RiffTrax Short Reviewed, where I take 5 RiffTrax shorts in chronological order, review them, and give them a rating between 1 and 5, with the points being good, great, awesome, fantastic, and spectacular, because I don't think a bad RiffTrax short exists. We've got a nice diverse bunch for this one, from health to Batman, and from cylinders to social letters. So let's dive right into episode 44 of Every RiffTrax Short Reviewed. Number 216. Health, Your Posture, from April 29th, 2014.
If both of you practice good posture until it's second nature,
you'll have 0 friends.
Well,
So, you're a kid with no friends. You go to parties and play the games and engage with others, but for some reason you can't seem to fit in with the crowd. Have you ever considered that your problem is, of all things, your posture? Not a lack of social skills or maybe coming off a little cold or distant, but the way a slouch is keeping you from having friends. At least that's the case for poor little Adrienne. Her posture is so bad her own reflection comes to life to tell her how awful it is. Adrienne goes to her science teacher for some reason, and he brings in a doctor to teach her and the other kids about how important standing up straight is and how it can fix all of your problems in life.
Your Posture, from our What Can We Make Kids Feel Bad About Today series.
over here are the ones who'd rather talk than play.
Everybody hate you too? Yeah. Oh, boy.
Oh, yes. Here is Adrienne. Adrienne, who usually sits all alone, slumped in her chair in the corner.
Wondering why her folks named her Adrienne.
Knows that for some, she can laugh right along with the others when she knows what it is they're laughing about.
Usually people named Adrienne.
But why do they sometimes laugh for no good reason?
The studio audience for 2.5 Men, I mean.
See if you can discover what it is. Your face is all right, Adrienne. You're neat and clean and healthy looking.
That's what I tell my wife every year on our anniversary.
Damn decent of you, Mike.
Yeah.
You're neither. What in the world? The mirror's gone crazy. You hold one hand up, it holds the other one down. Who ever heard of a mirror like this?
Groucho and Harpo Marx?
You're supposed to show me how I look. No.
My mirror says that when I try to leave the house in
For
sweatpants.
years, I've never... Do you want to see how you really look, Adrienne?
Nah, I'm going to be shattering you with a folding chair now.
Your head pokes forward, your shoulders slump, your stomach. Well, take a look.
Gee, I'm kind of a bitch, but I don't look that
Adrienne,
bad.
the mirror. You have just taken the most important step toward good posture. Wanting to have it.
What about putting in hard work?
Wanting to have it.
Determination isn't always Mr. Riley, your science teacher. He has been teaching you some other things about health. Maybe he can give you some pointers about posture.
Pointer 1, consult a doctor instead of a teacher.
When you
The solutions that the doctor gives Adrienne's class seem quite confused. He says they need to eat well, get plenty of rest, play a lot, wear shoes that aren't too tight, and have a good mattress. Now, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but while those are all indeed good pieces of health advice, what in the world do they have to do with the child's posture? The doc implies that if you follow his rules, all your posture problems will end without having the kids even focus on their actual physical stature at all. It's like Centron had a ton of health advice for kids, but needed to cram it all into one 10-minute concept, and posture just fit the bill for them.
he talks about what good posture means to your health.
Oh, you're all going through growth spurts and have a lot of other stuff to worry about. This isn't a big deal at all. I'm leaving.
You need a thorough checkup by your family doctor to discover the cause of your posture defects.
And why your self-esteem is so low, you knuckle-dragging sacks of
Even if
posture
your poor
suck.
Posture is only any activity which takes balancing or stretching is good for developing the muscles of your shoulders and chest.
Ah, the smell of bed sheets freshly washed in gasoline.
To have good posture, get enough exercise.
Now form a heterosexual pair. Swing that girl with a helmet hair now, right, left,
Wait a
grand.
minute. If you work or take time out to relax when you get home from school or any time you feel tired.
Try a nice
Rest for a
cocktail.
while before dinner, you'll feel more like sitting up straight at the table.
In your bleak, empty room in limbo.
Go to bed. Choose new shoes for comfort and good workmanship.
If you're poor, assume you'll have bad posture
Shoes
forever.
should be long enough. You're all set to train your body in good posture habits. But what is good posture?
Wait, what have we been talking about for the last 10 minutes?
Is it the ramrod stiffness of a parade marcher?
Yes?
No.
No,
Good
damn it.
standing posture. That's all there is to it, Adrienne. It seems easy, doesn't it?
Yes?
But it's not as easy as it looks.
God damn
You can't
it!
expect. But before too long, you can walk right up to that crazy mirror in your room,
Tell it you're medicated now.
and this time...
Just remember, the next time you're feeling unwanted and unloved amongst your peers, just sit up a little straighter. This completely illogical short gets a 4 out of 5.
Yes, Adrienne, Dr. Martin has given you and your classmates a new idea of the importance of good posture. You know now how important it is to your health.
The answer, not so much really.
No.
He has pointed out 3...
Number 217, Writing Better Social Letters from May 9th, 2014.
What are you doing?
I've just never seen so many racial slurs before.
You see, Nora,
Back before the digital age, we couldn't just send a text message or an email to keep our relationships up. We had to handwrite letters to send invitations, thank people for gifts, and to stay connected with our long-distance friends and family. It's a good thing that I'm part of the modern world, since my handwriting is so illegible I can barely read it myself. Anyway, a poor girl, despite growing up in this bygone era, isn't sure how to write letters to others, and it takes the guiding hand of her brother to teach her the ways of the pen.
Writing Better Social Letters, part of Coronet's For God's Sake, Think of Better Goals series.
I must be able to look more like a 50-year-old woman, but how?
Seems we've stumbled into David and Hazel the early years.
I don't know how you do it, Wally. You make it seem so easy.
Well, being literate is a
I
good
brought back
first
some old
step,
letters to
sis.
try to find some help there, but how do you write such good social letters?
Well, to start, you've got to know what the hell a social letter is.
it's a talent.
A ball for Washington's birthday? The 50s were even more boring than Coronet shorts have led us to believe.
Notice it's written in the third person. And down here they note formal. Well, I'll write a formal answer that starts out like this.
Go f***
Mr.
yourself and your
Walter
wooden
Barlow
teeth.
accepts with pleasure. You don't have to write an answer to this kind of invitation. Chances are your phone to accept this one.
Yeah, I'd rather die, thanks.
I could tell just by reading it that she really liked the present I sent her. Here, listen to this.
Please send me the
Thank you, Megan,
receipt.
for sending me the delightful book for my birthday. How did you know I've been trying to borrow that very book for weeks?
I feel like it's not just Mein Kampf,
This is a thank you
it's
letter for
our
our guest.
Kampf.
I was shopping yesterday and I picked out the smartest blouse. But then,
Oh, wait, this is my diary.
you know, as you read that,
After establishing why social letters are important to a healthy, functioning society, her brother shows her how a social letter is supposed to be constructed on the page. Not just the actual content of the letter, but that it must be written with a real pen, must have even margins, and must not be written on ordinary humdrum notebook paper. He finally lets her get around to writing a thank you letter for their aunt and uncle, and then they play a little imagination game of wondering how they'll respond when reading such a perfect missive.
on notebook paper. And torn out. Written in pencil.
Might as well use
Hey,
dog
you
crap.
From that. And you better, dear Uncle Ross and Aunt Helen.
Go
I hope
yourselves
you
and
were
your
all
wooden
well.
teeth.
I want to thank you for having Walter and me for the gorgeous visit. We had a good time. Can you imagine what they think if they read such a letter?
That she hoped they were well and she had a good time?
May I borrow some of your white paper? Mm-hmm. And I'm going to use pen and ink.
But it's so much more thoughtful to cut the letters out of magazine ads, tie it to a rock, and throw it through their window.
And the main part of the letter.
The comfortable white lies and insincere pleasantries.
First, my address and the date.
Oh, God, fire everywhere! How are you so bad at this?
And then the salutation. Dear Aunt Helen and Uncle Ross.
He's holding a gun just out of frame.
I'll use scratch paper until I'm sure just what I'm going to say.
Writing a thank you note should take 10 to 12
I'm not
hours.
mentioning something.
Do you want to hear it?
All right. Just a minute.
He silently rips it to shreds without breaking eye contact.
The page.
Some people are born with it, some aren't.
I'm glad you appreciated my help.
Please stop flirting.
So, you're writing a letter to Jimmy and Alice. Can it be from both of us?
Gee,
Well, there are lots of things I'd like to say to them.
Mostly
And
about
it's
letters,
about our
writing
business,
letters, and the
I'd like
letter
to
writing
say to them,
lifestyle.
too.
There's no better time like the present to brush up on our snail mail skills, and this lesson on how to do it right gets a 3.5 out of 5.
Well, that doesn't sound much like a letter.
maybe it's not supposed to. Maybe it should sound like you.
Like you doing exactly what I tell you.
Why not?
Number 218, At Your Fingertips Cylinders from May 19th, 2014.
When you experiment with cylinders, you will discover many ways of combining them.
You can combine two cylinders to make one long... cylinder.
Here we go, back into the incredibly weird world of the ACI At Your Fingertips series. What's the subject of the whacked out kids' crafts this time? Cylinders. Yes, cylinders. A shape. Not an item like grass or boxes, simply the mere form that is the humble cylinder. Should it really have been called At Your Fingertips Oatmeal Containers Covered in Construction Paper, since that's almost exclusively what they use in this short? Probably, but your guess is as good as mine as to what those crazy ACI creators were thinking about at any given time.
Tonight on a very special episode of At Your Fingertips.
Mom, we're gonna go play at the abandoned construction site again.
Okay, kids, try not to get bitten by as many rats this time.
I don't get it. When Mario steps on pipes, he warps to Mushroom World. Yeah, a giant. Oh, we changed location.
Yeah.
And there are many things that you can make from them.
Bobby's making his grandpa a fully functional artificial heart.
And here we see how to turn a cylinder into a slightly different colored cylinder.
Yep, when I think cylinders, I think harpsichord music.
Cylinders are wonderful, at your fingertips or not. Cylinders are hot.
Hot?
I wanted it to rhyme and I panicked. Sorry.
Boom, boom, boom. Kid, it's the narrator. I'm locked out. That is not a cylinder. Kid, let me in.
La la la. I think I'm ready to move on to triangular prisms.
No, you're not ready. Get out of there now before it blows.
This effigy of your math teacher will look so good you won't even want to burn it on his lawn.
While you make whatever the hell this is, try not to think about how much fun your friends are having playing outside.
With a flashlight, this becomes a planetarium.
Does it?
I made you something.
As is the usual case with this series of madness, a parade of crappy crafts and the poor kids whose parents signed them up for this take part in whatever action the narrator prompts them to. This one, as most of the ACI trips, speaks for itself in terms of ridiculousness. But I will say the last craft was a particularly odd choice. The only downside to this short is that it was also covered during the Manos live show several years back, and the energy, as is to be expected, was higher during that performance than this studio one, and I do prefer that live interpretation to this one, and I clearly hear there's stronger reads in my head while watching this version, which is honestly a bit distracting. More so here than when I even watched the studio version of At Your Fingertips Grasses.
I shouldn't have done this with a sheet of aluminum. Cut more! Glue everything! More glitter! Kill a hobo!
What's that, Mr. Narrator?
Oatmeal containers!
Now abandon that project and concentrate on what you do best, folding paper in half.
Oh yeah, baby, that is a crease.
Meanwhile, Dad takes another swig of bourbon in his armchair, staring at the baseball glove you showed absolutely no interest in.
Let the others mock us, Petey. You and I are one. You and I are one.
After he'd hung his 300th oatmeal box ungulate, Petey's parents began to worry.
Cylinders also make racing cars, which can be colored in many ways.
Except this way. This is the single wrong way to color a racing car, Bobby.
I brought one of these cars to the Pinewood Derby. Yep, first kid ever to be dishonorably discharged from Cub Scouts.
Make tentacles for your hentai-loving friends.
What new things can you find to make with cylinders?
Cylinders make all sorts of insane abominations against God possible.
No, wait, you've got... Oh, God, what are you doing to me? Stop it. Ah! Help, help. Ah!
Fun!
Robots don't even fly. You have a real kite. I saw it. Help!
Despite being riffed more energetically elsewhere, this is another great bundle of goofiness from the At Your Fingertips shorts, and it earns a 3 out of 5.
Okay, they're totally avoiding the main question on the table. Are cylinders grass?
This is the beginning of an animal.
Number 219, Fashion Horizons from June 2nd, 2014.
Pleated collars and cuffs are a completing trim.
Hat by Milliners of Oz.
I don't know much about fashion myself. I usually opt for my fandom t-shirts and jeans 95% of the time, with a nice blouse thrown in here and there. I'm never one to really know what the trends are out there, and this short certainly didn't help me much. After an entire minute of opening credits for a 19-minute long short, we start meeting the starlets of this picture as they take flight for various destinations that are given just as much, if not more, focus than the actual outfits they'll be modeling. And this narrator finds everything, and I do mean everything, absolutely incredible. Even the ladies' luggage gets a shout out from him.
Celebrated announcer does his narrating from the shoulders of fans. We also wish to opposite of thank MGM and Delta for declining to participate. We hate you and get bent.
He announces the departure of the Super Sky Chief Stratoliner for Chicago, Kansas City, Albuquerque, and Los Angeles.
Also
It's
making
number
stops
3.
in
All aboard,
Memphis,
please.
Seattle, and Washington,
In a few short
D.C.
years, the travel habit. Dawn finds our air voyagers flying over the Texas Panhandle and the colorful mesas of New Mexico.
Not pictured.
It's a fairyland Cyril Johnson covert cloth suit.
Esther,
Met
I
by
love that
LOWRANCE,
hideous flower.
fashion
So
designer
ironic.
Thanks, I love how your
Esther's
hat
goal is to
obscures
get
most
off
of
her
your
plane and
face.
act in a location picture.
Just one graffitied T from disaster. It's lucky TWA folded before polite society
Take notice
crumbled.
of the smart airplane lug. It's Halliburton luggage, especially travel tested by TWA for air passengers. Metal alloys make for lightweight and durability.
This Halliburton sounds like it can do no wrong.
As the back, quiet, action, camera.
Not necessarily in that order.
Seeing a color screen test, Margaret and Virginia keep a dinner engagement in Albuquerque at the Alvarado.
The dinner menu tonight,
Margaret wears
highballs
a
and
flowery
cigarettes.
evening dress of crown-tested rayon.
I'm the guy on the couch. I love sweaty women. I've been sitting here trying to work up the nerve to... Oh,
Two
bye
other
forever.
charmingly dressed girls. The gray silver fox jacket is worn casually.
That's right, never let the
Silver
jacket know
flat
you
dinner
care
dress
about it.
With a tight-fitting jacket. The studio gave them a week's vacation, so here they are in a Stratoliner flying to Phoenix, Arizona.
Wow, harsh. What did they do to deserve that?
Speed, new service, while below appears Camelback Inn, where the girls will soon be sunlasing.
Yes, sunlasing. That term everyone
Natural
uses.
desert backgrounds. Why, it's Virginia in frontier costume. The ranch foreman gives her a hearty Western welcome. How about a breakfast ride tomorrow, says he. It's a date, says she.
How about back off, we just met, weirdo,
Margaret and
says
Esther
she.
explore the grounds. The grounds of our resort are studded
There's
with wild
Snoopy's
cactus.
brother Spike's house.
Martha wears the sunrise on the desert as the girls awake early for their breakfast ride. Orange, gold, and purple tints flood the morning sky.
Wasn't that sunrise fantastic? Beautiful. Now a horse ride. My heart is beating so fast.
Please excuse her, the studio's diet doctor has us on a lot of speed.
In frontier pants, Western, can't you just taste those eggs and bacon and coffee? Just the dish for a Western appetite.
Half a Denny's kids breakfast.
That's ready, folks.
After riding around in the desert for a while, we get a look at the ladies' resort wear as they chill out by the pool and play some shuffleboard. And yes, it's just as exciting as it sounds. The girls seem to have an infinite number of outfits, literally a new outfit for every single activity they engage in. See, this is part of what I don't understand. When I go on vacation, I think, what will I be cozy in yet fits the climate I'll be in, and just pack variants of that for every day I'll be there. I don't need a shuffleboard look, a tennis look, a horseback riding look, etc.
Martha lounges in the patriotic colors of red, white, and blue.
Even Martha's
Her
sunlasing
crisscross
has a
bodice
stick up its ass.
tops a full skirt with assured Matlatex waistband.
The lady in the background models a bad hangover and canvas sack.
Esther's blue and red floral. The boys have comfort too in Palm Beach clothes, which provide a wardrobe that meets every occasion.
From the inquest to the funeral parlor.
Sports are varied at Camel. Now she wears only the matching swimsuit in blue and white, shirred and elasticized in the new process called Matlatex. Approaching, we see the long
Welcome to
skirted version
Cybertron,
of the
mighty
daisy patterned dress
Matlatex.
with pinafore ruffled sleeves. As Martha and Virginia stroll away, the shuffleboard game goes merrily on.
Until the man in the chair dies from heat stroke.
During the cocktail hour, Margaret appears in a sophisticated sheer night blue dress with white yoke embroidered with beaded daisies and edged with perky white piqué.
A little bit pioneer schoolmarm, a little bit angel of death chambermaid.
With a very new silhouette of flared tunic-length jacket and matlatex girdle.
Matlatex.
Injured at work? Call Don Matlatex, attorney at law.
White coin dots. When the skirt is removed, Virginia and Margaret discover
a surprisingly similar skirt, causing them to ask, what the hell?
And exceptionally come to the emerald pool below. She suggests a dip, so here we are.
Not dipping at all.
A 4-piece jersey Tahitian costume of cartwheel print and Miami crepe, with blouse and lapel facings in monotone shades.
He's just saying random adjectives now, isn't he?
An abnormous observation, my superluminal chum.
With a hip-length woolen... Well, doesn't he look comfortable?
It's 109 degrees, and I'm cocooned in 8 inches of wool, you sadistic son of a bitch.
And so, reluctantly, our girls leave the sun country.
Now it's on to Hollywood, where the sun is mere legend.
More Americans visit this 3,000 square mile Boulder Dam area near Las Vegas, Nevada, than any other national park in the United States.
Fun vacations wouldn't be invented until the early 60s.
This pretty brunette is dressed in a misty blue reefer with red coolies to match.
As seen in the pages of Mummified Old Biddy Monthly.
While this short isn't much more than a tape of glorified home movies, it's a fun watch with some really strong riffs to boot, and it gets a 4 out of 5.
Well, blessings of Matlatex be upon you. And also with you.
Number 220, Batman's Last Chance from June 9th, 2014.
Yeah, how would the neighbors ever guess Batman and Robin live here?
Heading once more into the breach that is the Batman serial, the guys are starting to lose it just a little at the prospect of there still being 5 more to tackle after this one. If you remember, which I totally wouldn't blame you for not remembering since I definitely didn't, Batman and Robin were chasing some of the Wizard's goons in a borrowed car. The Wizard's able to tell the duo are in the borrowed car, so he just takes over that car with his magical science-y doohickey machine and careens it over a cliff just as our heroes tuck and roll out safe and sound, unbeknownst to the villains, of course. Meanwhile, Jimmy Vale's up to no good as usual, but Vicky, suspicious of him for obvious reasons, tails him to the non-infringingly titled Markham building, where Jimmy meets his fellow henchmen. Vicky tries calling Bruce, but doesn't get a hold of him and just heads in by herself. What she expected her billionaire kinda boyfriend to do, I have no idea.
Maybe this is the time we get a funny name in the credit? Oh, no, damn it.
House Peters is kind of funny, like... Whoa, is it a man or a house?
Mike
Peters? What is this? A bunch of the dad from Family Guy?
Mike, it's okay.
It's funny. It's a funny name. House Peters. Oh God, there's still 5 more of these. Never fear, Batman has plenty of community chest left.
Their car is disabled. They commandeer another and...
The famous Batmobile is my... Wait, this thing sucks!
Batman's too clever for his own good. This time I'll do more than stop him.
Dare I dream that he tinkers with the dials? Yes!
This ought to be good.
The naive optimism of someone who hasn't seen the first 9 episodes. And miles away in a field, Robin does a clumsy somersault.
That's a safe bet that Batman would have driven off that cliff anyway.
Keep down. The wizard may be able to see us.
Slight crouching will render us totally invisible.
Hello, this is Jimmy Vale.
Can I get a tracking number on those sea monkeys I ordered?
Rendezvous date.
My criminal adult brother is sleeping on my desk in the middle of the day. Seems entirely non-suspicious.
Oh, he looks so peaceful. I'll tell him about Dad writing him out of the will later.
What? I mean...
Markham Building.
Well, technically the Arkham Asylum, but hey, for this series, we'll take what we can get.
I'm starting to think I can't trust this known supervillain associator.
Wait, the Markham Building?
So is this series worried about infringing on its own intellectual property?
Oh, can't a butler pull a carradine in the broom closet in peace?
Mr. Wayne's residence?
Oh, this is Vicky Vale. I must speak to Mr. Wayne at once.
I'm sorry, Miss Vale. He's not at home.
He's out with Gabe on one of their benders.
How many hideouts do these guys have? Wizard should just forget crime and rent his properties out.
Somebody's coming along the corridor towards the door.
See who it is.
They might have more horse art.
What took you so long?
My sister Vicky dropped in.
Are you sure you weren't followed?
Certainly. Otherwise, I wouldn't have come here.
I'd never put the horse art or the dog
big
statue
job
at
coming
risk
up.
that way. Come on.
Vicky, as is her usual MO at this point, heads into danger herself and ends up kidnapped by the men, thinking she may have led the cops there to their umpteenth wizard-funded hideout. In her prison, Vicky's able to call Alfred again, but she's forced off before giving the address. Bruce decides they need to worm the address out of the prisoner they caught previously, so instead of strong-arming it out of him, as most superheroes could/would do, they make him think he's been rescued from his guard and can simply escape to the hideout himself, driving there with Batman and Robin in the back of a van he thinks he's stealing. And congratulations to this Batman serial for winning the most convoluted, idiotic plan award. When he gets to the Markham building, he thanks the thugs for springing him when they reveal someone else let him out themselves. They search for the pointy-eared culprit, but Jimmy of all people saves Batman and finds out that it's Bruce in disguise. After some bad editing, Batman's suddenly on his own again, knocks out a bad guy and frees Vicky. He ends up in a fight, escapes, and runs around the hallways, eventually getting punched out an open 8-story window. Will Batman survive this? Seeing as there's 5 more of these, my money is on probably.
Just down the street from the Menguins Hideout in downtown Gotham.
Mambo number 3. Mambo number 4. I must be getting close.
Vicky!
Oh, what a surprise!
You
Not really sure why he punched Jimmy, but on the other hand, I don't really fault him at all.
Come on, give up, Vicky. Of course they wouldn't lock the reporter in a room with a working phone, or even one that could be very easily repaired after moving a light end table to the side. Oh, come on, thugs!
I want you to write down this address and give it to Bruce. The number is...
Oh, shoot. Maybe my first call should have been to the police and not my irresponsible, wealthy friend's butler.
Nice try, sister. But don't try it again.
And definitely don't use that bat signal we left by the window.
That building must be one of the wizard's hideouts.
How can we find it?
That last prisoner we caught should know where it is.
Getting him to reveal anything would be a man-sized job.
Yes, a Batman-sized job, but it's our only hope.
And thanks for that man-sized job setup, Robin. Didn't make a lick of sense, but helped me out a lot.
Rolled up newspapers, good for lightly reprimanding your dog or knocking full-grown men unconscious.
don't ask questions. Get in that delivery truck and take off.
And that's how my career as a FedEx driver began. Weird hiring practices, but a terrific company to work for.
This is Jason calling Rendezvous C. Jason calling Rendezvous C. Come in, Rendezvous C.
We found the radio all right.
This is Gabe at Rendezvous C.
Gabe! Hooray! Gabe is the best!
Where do I report? You mean you didn't have anything to do with my escape or that getaway car?
Certainly not. Someone's been playing games.
Well, it's not me.
When I play games, I squeal with girlish delight.
World's greatest detective, folks. Let's watch him work here.
Such a pleasure to see someone at the top of his form.
Oh, man, if you were being saved by Jimmy, perhaps the term superhero no longer applies.
Bruce Wayne.
I once broke into his garage and ate a bag of his potting soil.
Hey, Batman here. I'm okay again, apparently.
These guys don't deserve to shine Gabe's shoes.
Yeah, they're barely Josh level. You know, my life hasn't turned out the way I hoped it would. Suicide's the only answer. Bye.
Quick, your Batclaw! Oh, that's right, you have no tools, you're just a guy.
See the startling answers in Robin's Roost, Chapter 11 of Batman and Robin, at this theater next week.
And yes, I'm still pronouncing it Ruse, trying to make it my thing.
This is not only another hilarious entry into the serial, but Gabe's even in it as well. Therefore, it solidly gets a 4.5 out of 5.
Turning tail and running. Batman!
As always, thank you all so much for watching, and thanks to all of my awesome Patreon supporters, including Jackie Ball and Kevin Nata. It's been far too long since I got one of these reviews out, and I'm happy to finally have it here. I hope you all enjoyed it. I also hope that you're all staying safe, happy, and as healthy as possible. I definitely want to be getting more videos out for you guys in between work and all the other life stuff going on right now, so please leave any and all requests for future reviews, lists, reactions, and anything else you guys can think of down below for me to work on. I'd love to get all your suggestions and see what I can do. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys later. The doc implies that if you follow the rules like this, all your The doc implies that if you follow his rules, like all your shoot. He finally lets her get He finally So instead of just strong-arming the info out of him as most So instead of just strong-arming the info out of him like most oh my goodness.